Congratulations to Mr. Gu and his bride, wishing you a happy marriage and everlasting love. I pushed the wreath-laden cart, appearing with a bright smile at the entrance of the Golden Joy Hotel's wedding venue. The smiles on the guests' faces instantly froze, and the wedding march came to an abrupt halt. The groom, Gu Qingxian, who was exchanging rings on the stage, suddenly looked up, his face, which I had once deeply loved, now filled with shock and panic. Yi Qinghuan? Why are you here? The bride, Wen Ruxue, wearing a white wedding dress, turned pale and tightly gripped his hand. Qingxian, who is she? Me? I adjusted my black dress, my voice clear and sweet. I am Yi Qinghuan, Mr. Gu's original wife. I heard that Mr. Gu is getting married today, so I came here to give a wreath as a blessing. The whole place erupted in an uproar. The guests below the stage whispered to each other, and the sounds of discussion rose and fell. Some took out their phones to take pictures and videos, and the flashes kept flashing. Wasn't it said that Mr. Gu is single? What's going on? Bigamy? This woman is crazy, sending a wreath to a wedding? I calmly took the banner off the wreath and unfurled it in front of everyone. On it were written blood-red characters, "Congratulations to Gu Qingxian and Wen Ruxue on their happy wedding, may you reunite in the afterlife soon." Wen Ruxue's legs went weak, and she almost fell on the stage. Gu Qingxuan's face was as black as the bottom of a pot, and he said through gritted teeth, "Yi Qinghuan, are you crazy? This is my wedding." "Yes, precisely because it's your wedding that I came to bless you." I tilted my head, smiling innocently. "Mr. Gu, have you forgotten? We haven't gone through the divorce procedures yet. According to the marriage law, this is bigamy, you know." As soon as I finished speaking, the sound of police sirens rang out outside the hotel entrance. Several policemen strode in, and the leading officer looked at the scene and said in a deep voice, "We received a report that someone is suspected of bigamy. Mr. Gu Qingxian, please cooperate with the investigation." Gu Qingxuan's face turned pale instantly. "Impossible. We were clearly divorced." I took out the red marriage certificate from my handbag and waved it in the air. "Mr. Gu, have you seen it clearly? The seal on this marriage certificate is still clear. When did you divorce me? How come I don't know?" When Ruxue collapsed on the ground, her beautiful wedding dress spread out, like a withered white flower. She asked in a trembling voice, "Qingxian, did you lie to me? You said you were single." "Xiaxue, listen to my explanation, I really thought we were divorced." Gu Qingxian tried to explain in a panic. I chuckled and walked towards the microphone at the front of the stage. The guests all held their breath, waiting for my next words. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to interrupt your enjoyment." My voice was transmitted through the sound system throughout the banquet hall. "I am Yi Qinghuan, Gu Qingxuan's legal wife. We registered our marriage at the Civil Affairs Bureau 3 years ago and have not divorced to this day." I paused, looking at the ashen-faced couple on the stage. 3 months ago, I discovered that my dear husband and this Miss Wen were setting up another home outside, and Miss Wen was even pregnant with his child. As his wife, of course, I had to come and congratulate them on their wedding. The whole place erupted in an uproar. A middle-aged woman stood up angrily. "Gu Qingxian, how could you treat your wife like this? That's too much. Isn't this cheating? Wen Ruxue isn't any better, knowing that someone has a wife and still wanting to marry him." Facing the accusations from the crowd, Wen Ruxue covered her face and cried, "I didn't know, I really didn't know he wasn't divorced yet." "Didn't know?" I sneered, taking a few more photos from my handbag. "Miss Wen, your memory is really bad. In these photos, you and my husband are seen together at various occasions, and there are even photos of you personally provoking me at my doorstep. You say you didn't know?" The photos were displayed in the air one by one, each clearly recording their loving moments, as well as Wenrushua's arrogance. Yi Qinghuan! Gu Qingxian roared, "What exactly do you want?" I put away the photos, smoothed my hair, and said with a smile, "I don't want anything. I just want to send you a blessing. After all, a woman who can make my husband so fascinated must be very special, right?" I turned to look at Wenrushua, my voice still gentle. "Miss Wen, how many months pregnant are you?" "It looks like it should be 6 months, right?" Calculating the time, it should be around the anniversary of my marriage with Mr. Gu. How memorable! When Rishua's face turned pale, and she subconsciously protected her belly. I smiled even more brightly, "But Miss Wen doesn't have to worry, I won't fight you for a man. I'm here today to formally announce to everyone that from today onwards, Mr. Gu Qingxian is free." Saying that, I took out a document from my handbag and held it up high. "This is the divorce agreement, I've already signed it. Mr. Gu, you just need to sign it, and you can rightfully marry your dream girl." The whole place erupted in another uproar. No one expected that I would take the initiative to file for divorce. Gu Qingxian was stunned, seemingly unable to believe his ears. You're really willing to get a divorce?" "Of course." I smiled as brightly as a spring flower. "However, there's one small condition." "What condition?" Gu Qingxian asked nervously. I bit my lower lip pretentiously, looking embarrassed. "It's not a big condition. I just hope that Mr. Gu can return what belongs to me over the past 3 years." "What things?" When Rishua stood up from the ground, looking at me warily. I took out a folder from my handbag and said slowly and methodically, "First of all, there's my dowry. When we got married, I brought some small things as my dowry." I opened the folder and took out the first document, 3 plots of land in Jiangqing CBD, worth 12 billion. The whole place gasped. And Jintai Plaza, the largest shopping center in Jiangqing, worth 8 billion. 10 villas in Star River Bay, worth 3 billion. 30% of the shares of Goose Group, worth 15 billion. My voice was clear and melodious, as relaxed as if reading a shopping list. "Oh, right, and the equity transfer letter from my father's company. Back then, to help Goose Group through a difficult time, I transferred 40% of the shares of Yes Group to Mr. Gu. Now Yes Group is worth 4 billion, so 40% is 16 billion. With each number I said, Gu Qingxuan's face turned paler. By the end, he was as white as a sheet. The guests below the stage were completely dumbfounded. They never expected that this seemingly gentle and kind woman would be a hidden rich woman. Impossible! When Rishua screamed, "How could you have so much money? Aren't you just a housewife who only knows how to do housework?" I tilted my head and blinked innocently. "Housewife? Miss Wen, that's a very interesting thing to say. I, Yi Qinghuan, am also a financial PhD from Jiangqing University and the eldest daughter of Yes Group. What makes you think I'm a housewife?" I turned to Gu Qingxian, my smile even brighter. "Mr. Gu, did you forget to tell Miss Wen how you pursued me back then? You said you loved me for who I am, and you didn't care about my status or wealth. But now it seems that you loved my money." Gu Qingxian opened his mouth, wanting to refute, but found himself speechless. I continued, 3 years ago, Gu's Group was on the verge of bankruptcy. I took out all my savings and shares to help you through the crisis. You knelt in front of me at the time and said you would repay me with your whole life. Now it seems that your whole life is only 3 years. Yi Qinghuan, Gu Qingxian wanted to explain something. I waved my hand, interrupting him. "No need to explain, Mr. Gu. I understand your choice. After all, Miss Wen is young and beautiful and pregnant with your child. And I'm just a faded old housewife. When I said this, I still had a sweet smile on my face, but everyone present heard the sarcasm in my words. When Rushua's face turned red, and she said angrily, Yi Qinghuan, don't be sarcastic here. Qingxian doesn't love you. He's with me because of true love. True love? I chuckled. Miss Wen, do you know when you conceived the child in your belly? When Rushua was stunned, what do you mean? I took out several hospital examination reports from the folder. This is your prenatal report from Renai Hospital. According to the B-scan, you are 24 weeks pregnant. Calculating the time, you should have conceived 6 months ago. I paused and looked at Gu Qingxian. 6 months ago, it was exactly when I was sick and hospitalized. I was undergoing chemotherapy in the hospital, and Mr. Gu was out there making babies. Is this what you call true love? The entire venue fell silent. Everyone was shocked by this information. Who would have thought that this seemingly gentle and kind woman was actually a cancer patient? And her husband was out having children with another woman while she was sick. Gu Qingxuan's face turned completely white. He trembled and said, Qinghuan, I didn't know. I didn't know you were sick. Didn't know? My voice was still gentle, but every word was like a knife. Mr. Gu, you came home promptly at 10 o'clock every night. I sent you messages while lying in the hospital bed, and you said you were working overtime. Was your overtime spent being lovey-dovey with Miss Wen in a hotel? I took out my phone from my handbag and pulled up the chat history. Look, this is the last message I sent you from the hospital. Qingxian, I'm in so much pain, can you come and be with me? Your reply was, busy, don't bother me. I looked up at Gu Qingxian. That night, I was in pain alone in the hospital for the entire night. And you were celebrating Miss Wen's pregnancy. When Rushua's face grew increasingly ugly, she suddenly realized that she might have been deceived. I put away my phone and smoothed my hair. So, Mr. Gu, do you still want to say that you and Miss Wen are in true love? Gu Qingxian opened his mouth, but no sound came out. I smiled, and my voice returned to its sweetness, but it doesn't matter, let the past be the past. I came here today just to give you my blessings. I hope you can be happy and grow old together. I turned to face all the guests. Ladies and gentlemen, since it's a wedding, how can we not have the bride's bouquet? I plucked a few white chrysanthemums from the wreaths and put together a small bouquet. Miss Wen, this is my wedding blessing to you. With that, I threw the chrysanthemum bouquet towards Wen Rushua. When Rushua looked at the flying white chrysanthemums, her face as pale as paper. White chrysanthemums represent mourning in Chinese culture. Giving white chrysanthemums at a wedding is simply the most vicious curse. She subconsciously stepped back, but tripped over the hem of her wedding dress and fell heavily on the stage. Xiao Shua! Gu Qingxian rushed to help her, only to find bloodstains seeping out from under her dress. Blood. Bleeding. When Rushua's face was deathly pale as she tightly grasped Gu Qingxuan's hand, the baby, my baby. The entire venue was in chaos. Some people were calling for an ambulance, some were taking pictures and videos, and more were pointing and whispering. I remained standing where I was, with a gentle smile on my face, as if nothing had happened. Yi Qinghuan! Gu Qingxian roared, are you satisfied now? Satisfied with what? I blinked innocently. What does Miss Wen's fall have to do with me? She fell because she couldn't stand properly. It's not like I pushed her. Indeed, everyone saw what just happened. It was when Rushua who got scared by the chrysanthemums and tripped over her skirt while stepping back. I didn't touch her with even a finger from beginning to end. The ambulance arrived quickly, and paramedics put Wen Rushua on a stretcher. Before leaving, Wen Rushua looked at me with resentment and said, Yi Qinghuan, you vicious woman. I walked up to her, bent down and whispered in her ear, "Miss Wen, this is just the beginning. The real show is yet to come." When Rushua's eyes widened, seemingly unable to believe what she had heard. Gu Qingxian followed the ambulance, glaring at me fiercely before leaving. "Yi Qinghuan, I won't let you go." I waved at him and said sweetly, "Take care, Mr. Gu, and remember to sign the divorce agreement." As the ambulance left, the guests in the banquet hall also began to disperse. But no one was in a hurry to leave. Everyone was whispering, discussing what had just happened. "This Yi Qinghuan is too amazing. Yeah, she seems gentle on the surface, but she's actually very scheming. But I think she did the right thing. If it were me, I wouldn't let those two cheaters off easily either. Gu Qingxian is such a jerk, having an affair while his wife is sick." Listening to these discussions, I cheerfully sorted through the documents. At this moment, a middle-aged man walked up to me. He was well-dressed in a suit and tie, with an extraordinary demeanor, looking like a successful businessman. "Miss Yi, I'm Chen Guohua, the president of Shengshi Group." He handed me a business card. "I saw what happened just now, you handled it beautifully." I took the business card and said politely, "Mr. Chen, you flatter me." Chen Guohua smiled and said, "Miss Yi, I wonder if you're interested in a partnership?" "I'm very interested in your business acumen." I tilted my head and thought for a moment, how does Mr. Chen want to cooperate? Shengshi Group wants to enter the real estate industry, and I heard that you have the best plot of land in Jiangqing. We can talk about it. A shrewd light flashed in Chen Guohua's eyes. I smiled and said, "Mr. Chen, your information is very well informed. But now is not the time to talk business. I have more important things to do." "What things?" Chen Guohua asked curiously. I put away the divorce agreement and walked towards the exit of the hotel, of course, to visit my dear husband and his white moonlight in the hospital. After all, I'm still a qualified wife. Chen Guohua was stunned for a moment, then burst out laughing. "Miss Yi is truly interesting." "Then I won't disturb you any further. This is my personal phone number, feel free to contact me anytime." I took the note and nodded. Stepping out of the hotel, I took a deep breath of fresh air. The sky in Jiangqing was blue, and the sunlight was warm. I took out my phone and dialed a number. "Secretary, help me prepare, I'm going to visit patients in the hospital. Remember to prepare a big gift." A respectful voice came from the other end of the phone. "Yes, President Yi. What kind of gift would you like me to prepare?" I thought for a moment, a perfect curve forming at the corner of my lips. "Prepare a miscarriage insurance policy and a bouquet of white roses. Remember to write on the card, wishing Miss Wen and her child safety." "Understood, President Yi." Hanging up the phone, I got into the Rolls-Royce parked by the roadside. The driver respectfully asked, "Miss Yi, where are we going?" "Renai Hospital." I leaned back in the leather seat. "I'm going to visit my husband and his mistress." The car started and drove towards the hospital. Through the car window, I saw reporters still interviewing at the entrance of the Jinyu Hotel, with flashing lights constantly going off. The events of today would surely be headline news soon. I took out my phone, opened Weibo, and posted an update. "Thank you everyone for attending my husband's wedding today. Although I'm not the bride, I still send my sincere blessings. I hope they can be happy and reunite soon." The accompanying photo was a picture of me and the wreaths, with me smiling innocently, like a pure angel. This Weibo post instantly caused a sensation. The comments section exploded, with netizens leaving messages of support for me. "Goddess Yi is too awesome. This is what you call a high-level green tea. Learn something new, so this is how you can get revenge on a scumbag. Feeling sorry for Goddess Yi, her husband is cheating on her while she's sick, so outrageous. Gu Qingxian is a scumbag, not worthy of goddess Yi. Looking at these comments, my mood was greatly improved. The first step of the plan was successful. Now everyone in Jiangqing knows that Gu Qingxian is a scumbag who betrayed his wife, and Wen Rushui is a mistress who destroys other people's families. Next, it's time to execute the second step of the plan. In the VIP ward of Renai Hospital, when Rushui lay on the bed, her face as pale as paper. Gu Qingxian sat by the bed, looking anxious. "Doctor, how are my wife and child?" He grabbed the doctor's white coat and asked urgently. The doctor adjusted his glasses and said seriously, "The patient's condition is quite dangerous. Although the fetus has been temporarily saved, she needs absolute bed rest." And what? Gu Qingxian asked nervously. The patient's physical condition is not very good, and she has symptoms of threatened abortion. If she is stimulated again, it is likely that the child will not be saved. After the doctor finished speaking, he turned and left the ward. When Rushui lay on the bed, tears streaming down her face, "Qingxian, it's all the Yi Qinghuan's fault. If she hadn't come to make trouble, our child wouldn't be in trouble." Gu Qingxian held her hand, gritting his teeth and said, "It's all my fault, I should have divorced her sooner." "Didn't you say you were already divorced? Why does she still have a marriage certificate?" When Rushui looked at him questioningly. Gu Qingxian stammered, I thought Yi Qinghuan would take the initiative to go through the divorce procedures. She loves me so much, she shouldn't delay the divorce." "So you didn't even go to the Civil Affairs Bureau?" When Rushui's voice became louder and louder, "Gu Qingxian, you lied to me. Xiaoshui, listen to my explanation." Just then, there was a knock on the door of the ward. A nurse came in, saying, "Ms. Wen, someone sent you flowers." The nurse was holding a large bouquet of white roses, tied with a pink ribbon, which looked very delicate. When Rushui took the bouquet in confusion, "Who sent them?" The nurse handed her a card, "It's written on the card." When Rushui opened the card, and her face turned ashen instantly. On the card was written in elegant handwriting, wishing Ms. Wen and her child's safety and a speedy recovery. Yi Qinghuan, Yi Qinghuan. When Rushui trembled with anger and threw the bouquet on the ground, "She's cursing me. Sending white roses to a pregnant woman in a hospital, what does that mean?" Gu Qingxian also saw the card, and his face was ashen. "This woman is too vicious." The nurse was still at the door, and she added, "Oh, and there's a lawyer who wants to see Ms. Wen. He said it's about insurance claims." "What insurance?" When Rushui asked, baffled. Soon, a middle-aged man in a suit walked into the ward. He wore gold-rimmed glasses and carried a briefcase, looking every bit the professional. "Hello, I'm Wang Jiangwo, a lawyer from Huaxin Law Firm." He handed over a business card. "I've been entrusted by Ms. Yi Qinghuan to handle the miscarriage insurance claim for Ms. Wen." Miscarriage insurance? When Rushui's eyes widened, "What miscarriage insurance?" Lawyer Wang opened his briefcase and took out an insurance policy. "This is the miscarriage insurance that Ms. Yi Qinghuan bought for you. The insured amount is 500,000 yuan. If you unfortunately have a miscarriage, you can get full compensation." When Rushui looked at her name on the policy and almost fainted with anger, "Yi Qinghuan. She's cursing me to have a miscarriage." "Ms. Wen, please calm down." Lawyer Wang pushed his glasses up. "According to the insurance terms, if the insured has a miscarriage due to an accident, the insurance company will provide compensation." "Ms. Yi Qinghuan said that she cares about your health and bought this insurance for you." Gu Qingxian said angrily, "Get out. Get out now." Lawyer Wang calmly put away the documents. "Then I'll take my leave." "Ms. 1. I'll leave this policy on the bedside table. You can contact us at any time if you need it. After the lawyer left, the ward was silent. When Rushua lay in bed, her chest heaving violently, Gu Qingxian, did you see that? Yi Qinghuan is cursing our child. Gu Qingxian sat on the chair, his expression complicated. He suddenly realized that he might never have understood Yi Qinghuan. The Yi Qinghuan of the past was gentle and kind, never arguing with anyone. Even if he spoke harshly sometimes, she would just endure it silently. But the Yi Qinghuan of today is completely different. Every action, every word, is like a carefully calculated move, accurately hitting their vital points. Moreover, he only realized today that Yi Qinghuan was so wealthy. The real estate, the shares, worth billions in total, he knew nothing about. Qingxian, what are you thinking about? When Rushua asked weakly. Gu Qingxian snapped back to reality, nothing, you should rest well. You're not still thinking about that woman, are you? When Rishua's tone was laced with jealousy, Gu Qingxian, don't forget, she almost caused me to miscarry today. Gu Qingxian was silent for a moment, then said, Xiaxue, you rest first. I'll go make a call. He walked out of the ward and dialed the number of a private investigator. Help me investigate all of Yi Qinghuan's information. I need to know everything about her. Okay, Mr. Gu. But... The private investigator hesitated. But what? Today, the news about you and MS. Yi Online is all over the place. Everyone in Jiangqing knows that you cheated while your wife is sick and committed bigamy. MS. Yi is now an internet celebrity, and there are many people supporting her. Gu Qingxian frowned, what are you trying to say? What I mean is, investigating MS. Yi might not be easy. Also, your reputation right now. Gu Qingxian hung up the phone in frustration. He took out his phone, opened Weibo, and saw that Yi Qinghuan's post had more than 10,000 comments, all of them supporting her. As for the comments about him, they were all negative. Scumbag, bastard, ungrateful, these words filled the entire comment section. Even worse, netizens had dug up his company information. The Gu Group's stock started to plummet this afternoon, and clients started calling to question his character. Gu Qingxian suddenly realized that Yi Qinghuan's actions today were not just for revenge, but to completely ruin his career and reputation. And he, foolishly, thought Yi Qinghuan was just acting on impulse. The next morning, the offices of the Gu Group were in chaos. Mr. Gu, the China Resources Group is demanding to terminate the cooperation agreement. Mr. Gu, the bank is saying they want to call back the loan early. Mr. Gu, the tenants in the commercial building are demanding to terminate their leases. One bad news after another came, and Gu Qinghuan's face grew increasingly grim. His assistant, Xiao Lu, rushed into the office. Mr. Gu, Yi Qinghuan is here. What is she doing here? Gu Qingxian gritted his teeth. She said she wants to talk to you about the divorce agreement. Gu Qingxian took a deep breath and straightened his clothes. Let her in. Soon, Yi Qinghuan walked into the office. She was wearing a light blue professional suit, with delicate makeup, looking elegant and proper, completely unlike the crazy woman at the wedding yesterday. Good morning, Mr. Gu. She sat on the sofa, crossed her legs, and looked relaxed. Gu Qingxian looked at her, his mood complicated. Yi Qinghuan, what exactly do you want? Yi Qinghuan tilted her head, pretending to be puzzled. What do I want? Haven't I made it clear enough? I want a divorce. Then where is the divorce agreement? Where do I sign? Yi Qinghuan took out the agreement from her bag and placed it on the coffee table. Let's sign it here. But before signing, I want to confirm the property division with you. Gu Qingxian picked up the agreement and his face instantly changed. Yi Qinghuan, are you crazy? I can't possibly agree to these conditions. The agreement clearly stated that Gu Qingxian needed to return all of Yi Qinghuan's dowry, including 3 pieces of real estate, Jintai Plaza, Xinghebei Villa, and shares in the Yi Group. In addition, he had to pay Yi Qinghuan 50 million yuan for mental distress over the past 3 years. Mr. Gu, these things were originally mine. Yi Qinghuan said matter-of-factly, when I married you, these were all listed on the dowry list. Now that we're divorcing, of course, they should be returned to me. But these things have already been used for business operations. Where am I supposed to find so much money? Gu Qingxian was anxious and sweating profusely. Yi Qinghuan shrugged, that's not my problem. Mr. Gu, you're not thinking of reneging on the debt, are you? Yi Qinghuan, we've been married for 3 years, you can't be so cruel. Gu Qingxian tried to play the emotional card. Yi Qinghuan smiled, her smile laced with sarcasm, married for 3 years? Mr. Gu, do you even remember that we're married? When I was sick, where were you? When I was in the hospital undergoing chemotherapy alone, you were with another woman. Her voice was still gentle, but every word pierced Gu Qingxuan's heart like a needle. You say I'm cruel? Then when Rushua was pregnant with your child, why didn't you think you were being cruel to me? Gu Qingxian was speechless. Yi Qinghuan stood up and smoothed out her clothes. Mr. Gu, I'll give you 3 days to consider. If you don't sign this agreement, then we'll see you in court. At that time, I'll not only get my property back, but I'll also pursue your legal responsibility for bigamy. Bigamy carries a maximum sentence of 2 years, Mr. Gu probably doesn't want to go to jail, does he? Her tone was light, as if she were chatting about the weather. Gu Qingxuan's face was pale. Yi Qinghuan, are you really going to push me to the brink? Push you to the brink? Yi Qinghuan retorted, Mr. Gu, if I wanted to push you to the brink, do you think you'd still be sitting here talking to me? She walked to the window, looking at the bustling traffic below. I checked yesterday, and the debt-to-asset ratio of Gu's group is now over 80%. If I withdraw all my investments, your company won't last a week. Gu Qingxuan's heart sank. He suddenly realized that Yi Qinghuan not only knew about him and Rushua, but also knew the company's financial situation inside and out. Do you know why I haven't done that? Yi Qinghuan turned to look at him, because I still care about our relationship as husband and wife. I'm giving you a chance to leave gracefully. She walked to the door and looked back at him. Mr. Gu, 3 days. I hope you can make a wise choice. After Yi Qinghuan left, Gu Qingxian collapsed into his chair. He picked up the agreement, looking at the conditions written on it, his heart filled with mixed emotions. If this agreement were to be executed, he would essentially be left with nothing. But if he didn't sign, Yi Qinghuan would really send him to jail. He picked up his phone and dialed Rushua's number. Xiaxue, how are you feeling? Still very weak. The doctor said I need to stay in the hospital for observation for a week. When Rushua's voice sounded aggrieved, Qingxian, when are you coming to see me? Gu Qingxian hesitated for a moment. I might have some things to deal with, I'll come later. What things? Is Yi Qinghuan giving you trouble again? Gu Qingxian was silent for a while, then said, Xiaxue, you focus on your recovery. I'll handle everything else. After hanging up the phone, Gu Qingxian fell into deep thought. He suddenly remembered what Yi Qinghuan looked like when she first married him 3 years ago. Back then, she was just as gentle and elegant, but her eyes were full of love and trust for him. And now, she was just as gentle and elegant, but her eyes were full of indifference and calculation. When did the woman who loved him deeply become like this? Gu Qingxian suddenly felt a little regretful. If he hadn't betrayed Yi Qinghuan in the first place, if he had been able to focus on her, would the outcome be different now? But there are no ifs in life. Now he must face Yi Qinghuan's revenge and the mistakes he has made. In the hospital, when Rushua was answering a call from an unknown number. Hello, is this Mess? When Rushua? I'm Li Ming, a reporter from the Jiangqing Evening News. I'd like to interview you about you and Mr. Gu Qingxian. As soon as when Rushua heard it was a reporter, she perked up immediately. What do you want to interview about? Mainly to hear your views on what happened at the wedding yesterday, and your love story with Mr. Gu. When Rushua thought about it and felt that this was a good opportunity to clear her name, okay, I'll accept the interview. Soon, the reporter arrived at the hospital. When Rushua dressed up carefully, put on her prettiest hospital gown, and even applied light makeup. Ms. 1. When did you first meet Mr. Gu? The reporter asked. When Rushua put on a look of deep affection, 3 years ago, I met Qingxian when I was working in a cafe. He used to come to the cafe often, and we gradually became familiar. Did you know that Mr. Gu was already married at the time? I didn't know. When Rushua said excitedly, Qingxian told me he was single, I never knew he was married. This was, of course, a lie. In fact, when Rushua knew very early on that Gu Qingxian had a wife, but she didn't care. She felt that since Gu Qingxian was willing to be with her behind his wife's back, it meant that he loved her more. Do you think Ms. Yi Qinghuan's actions yesterday were excessive? The reporter continued to ask. When Rushua's eyes immediately turned red, that's too much. I'm pregnant, and she actually sent a wreath to curse me at the wedding. I almost had a miscarriage. She stroked her belly, putting on a pitiful look. I'm just an innocent woman, I really didn't know Qingxian was married. If Yi Qinghuan has any resentment, she should go to Qingxian. Why hurt me and my child? The reporter diligently recorded her words. Ms. 1. Some netizens are saying that you are a mistress, destroying someone else's family. What do you think? I'm not a mistress. When Rushua cried, I'm also a victim. Qingxian lied to me, saying he was single. If I knew he had a wife, I would never have been with him. The interview lasted for an hour, and the reporter obtained enough material. That afternoon, the Jiangqing Evening News published the interview. The headline was, Exclusive Response from Wen Rushua, I'm also a victim. I didn't know he was married. In the article, Wen Rushua was portrayed as a pitiful woman who had been deceived. She didn't know Gu Qingxian was married, and was almost caused to miscarry by the original wife cursing her at the wedding while pregnant. As soon as this article came out, the online sentiment began to change. Some netizens began to sympathize with Wen Rushua, believing that she was also a victim. However, more netizens didn't buy it. They refuted in the comments section, what are you pretending to be? A 3-year-long affair, would you not know the other person is married? In this day and age, can being a mistress be so confident and justified? Gu Qinghuan's cheating is wrong, but the mistress who destroys someone else's family is not innocent either. Yi Goddess did the right thing. This kind of woman should pay the price. Wen Rushua trembled with anger when she saw these comments. She immediately called Gu Qingxian. Qingxian, have you seen the comments online? Those people are going too far. Gu Qingxian was having a headache over company matters, and hearing her complaints made him even more irritable. Shashua, can you stop adding to the trouble? I'm very busy right now. What trouble am I adding? I just want to clear my name. Wen Rushua cried aggrievedly. Clear your name? Why didn't you tell the truth when you were interviewed? You clearly knew I had a wife. Gu Qingxian finally exploded. There was silence on the other end of the phone. After a long while, when Rishua said weakly, "Qingxian, how can you say that about me?" "I said that to protect you. If I admitted that I knew you were married, your reputation would be even worse." Gu Qingxian rubbed his temples tiredly. "Forget it, just take care of yourself and the baby. Don't worry about anything else." Hanging up the phone, Gu Qingxian looked at the divorce agreement on the table, deep in thought. Perhaps, agreeing to Yi Qinghuan's terms really was the best choice. At this moment, the secretary knocked on the door and came in. "Mr. Gu, MS. Yi Qinghuan is here." "What is she doing here again? Didn't she say 3 days?" "She said she has something important to tell you." Gu Qingxian took a deep breath. "Let her in." Yi Qinghuan walked into the office, wearing a black suit today, looking particularly capable. "Mr. Gu, good afternoon." She sat down, looking composed. "Yi Qinghuan, what are you here for again?" Gu Qingxian asked impatiently. Yi Qinghuan took out a folder. "I'm here to show you something interesting." She opened the folder and took out some photos. "These are Wen Rushua's medical records. Do you know why she's prone to miscarriages?" Gu Qingxian looked at the photos, his brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" "She's had 3 miscarriages." Yi Qinghuan said calmly, "And, according to the medical records, her endometrium is very thin, making it difficult to get pregnant." Gu Qinghuan's expression changed. "What are you trying to say?" Yi Qinghuan took out another report. "This is her blood test report. Do you know what kind of medication she's been taking during her pregnancy?" "What medication?" "Contraceptives." Yi Qinghuan's words were like a bolt from the blue. "Mr. Gu, do you think a woman who wants a child would take contraceptives during pregnancy?" Gu Qingxian stared blankly at the report, his mind a blank. "That's impossible. Xiaoxue wouldn't take contraceptives. She wanted this child so much." Yi Qinghuan chuckled. "Wanted a child?" "Mr. Gu, do you really know Wen Rushue?" She took out some more photos from the folder. "These are her shopping records. In the past month, she's purchased a large amount of contraceptives and abortifacients." The photos clearly showed surveillance screenshots of Wen Rushua purchasing medicine at different pharmacies, with the time and location clearly marked. "Moreover," Yi Qinghuan continued, "according to my investigation, Wen Rushua had 3 previous pregnancies before she met you, and each time she actively terminated them." Gu Qinghuan's hand was trembling. "Why? Why would she do this?" "Because she doesn't want a child at all." Yi Qinghuan stood up and walked to the window. "All she wants is an excuse to tie you down. A child that will never be miscarried, but will never actually be born. Think about it, in the past 3 months, hasn't she often said her stomach hurts, often had signs of miscarriage, but every time she went to the hospital for a checkup, the baby was fine?" Gu Qingxian recalled, his face turning paler and paler. Indeed, Wen Rushua often said she felt unwell, and he therefore felt even more concerned and guilty towards her. "She's using your guilt to make you even more devoted to her." Yi Qinghuan turned to look at him. "Mr. Gu, do you think she really loves you?" Yi Qinghuan took out a voice recorder. "This is a recording of her phone call with a friend. Listen to what she says about you." The recording played, when Rushua's voice clearly transmitted. "Gu Qingxian is such a sucker, he does everything I say. He buys me whatever I want, he's so easy to control. So what if his wife has money? Once I marry him, isn't that money mine anyway? I've already planned it all out. After we get married, I'll make him transfer all his assets to my name. Kids? I don't want any kids. Giving birth is so painful, and it will ruin my figure. I'm just putting on an act to make him think I love him and am willing to have children for him. That stupid woman, Yi Qinghuan, we've been fooling her for the past 3 years. If only she'd die sooner, she's such an eyesore. The recording ended, and the office was deathly silent. Gu Qingxian slumped into his chair, his face as pale as paper. He never imagined that when Rushua saw him this way. Do you still think she loves you now? Yi Qinghuan asked. Gu Qingxian closed his eyes, his voice hoarse. Yi Qinghuan, why did you tell me all this? Because I want you to know the truth. Yi Qinghuan sat back on the sofa. Mr. Gu, you betrayed someone who truly loved you for a woman who doesn't love you at all. Do you think it was worth it? Gu Qingxian opened his eyes and looked at Yi Qinghuan. Then what about you? Do you still love me? Yi Qinghuan was silent for a moment, then shook her head. No, I don't. From the moment you first betrayed me, my love for you died. Her words stabbed into Gu Qingxuan's heart like knives. Now, I just want to get back what belongs to me and start a new life. Yi Qinghuan stood up. Mr. Gu, have you considered the divorce agreement? Gu Qingxian looked at the agreement on the table, his heart filled with complex emotions. Now he knew when Rushua's true colors, and he knew what he had lost. But it was too late to regret it. I'll sign. He picked up the pen and signed his name on the agreement. Yi Qinghuan picked up the agreement and looked at it, nodding with satisfaction. Very good. Tomorrow, we'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to complete the divorce procedures. She walked to the door, then suddenly turned back. Oh, right, Mr. Gu. When Rushua will receive a special gift this afternoon. You can go and see her reaction, it should be quite interesting. With that, she pushed open the door and left. Gu Qingxian sat in the office, his heart filled with mixed feelings. He picked up his phone, looked at Wen Rushua's phone number, hesitated for a long time, but still dialed it. Qingxian! You finally called me. Wen Rushua's voice sounded very happy. Xiaxue, how are you feeling? Gu Qingxuan's voice was complicated. Much better. The doctor said the baby is very healthy and told me not to worry. Wen Rushua said sweetly, Qingxian, when are you coming to see me? I miss you. Listening to her fake, sweet voice and remembering her true face in the recording, Gu Qingxian felt a wave of nausea. I'll be there in a little while. He said and hung up the phone. He was going to confront Wen Rushua face to face, to ask her why she lied to him and why she hurt Yi Qinghuan. More importantly, he wondered how many secrets she was still keeping from him. In the hospital, when Rushua was leisurely scrolling through her phone, reading online news about her. Although many people were still criticizing her, there were also many voices supporting her, which made her very satisfied. Suddenly, the door of the ward was pushed open. A delivery man walked in. Excuse me, are you a mess? Wen Rushua? Your package. When Rushua took the package in confusion, I didn't buy anything. The delivery man smiled, someone else sent it to you. Please sign for it. When Rushua signed her name, and after the delivery man left, she opened the package. Inside was a beautiful gift box and a card. The card read, a small gift for MS. 1. I hope you like it. A friend who cares about you. When Rushua curiously opened the gift box, inside was a USB drive and a photo. The photo was a screenshot of the surveillance footage of her buying birth control pills at the pharmacy, with the time and location clearly marked. When Rushua's face changed instantly. With trembling hands, she plugged in the USB drive. Inside was a recording of her phone call with her friend, as well as her detailed medical records. Impossible. How did Yi Qinghuan get these things? When Rushua trembled all over in fear. At this moment, Gu Qingxian pushed the door open and walked in. Qingxian! When Rushua quickly turned off the computer, trying to hide something. But Gu Qingxuan's expression was very cold. He walked to the bedside and said in a deep voice, Xiaxue, we need to talk. Talk about what? When Rushua asked guiltily. Gu Qingxian took out his phone and played the recording. When Rushua's face turned pale instantly when she heard her own voice. Qingxian, listen to my explanation, this is not true. Not true? Gu Qingxian sneered, then what is this? He took out the photo of when Rushua buying birth control pills. When Rushua completely panicked, Qingxian, I can explain. Explain what? Explain why you were taking birth control pills during your pregnancy? Explain why you said I was a fool? Explain why you lied to me that you loved me? Gu Qingxuan's voice grew louder. When Rushua cried, Qingxian, I really love you. I was just too afraid of losing you, so I said those things. Afraid of losing me? Gu Qingxian roared, then why did you take birth control pills? You didn't want our child at all. I. When Rushua stammered, unable to speak. Gu Qingxian looked at her, his heart filled with disappointment and anger. When Rushua, I betrayed my wife for you, I risked my career for you, I lost everything for you. And now you tell me that it was all fake. It's not fake. I really love you. When Rushua tried desperately to salvage the situation, Qingxian, you can't doubt our relationship because of Yi Qinghuan's instigation. Provocation? Gu Qingxian took out the USB drive. This contains all your medical records, surveillance videos of you buying medication, and recordings of your phone calls with friends. Are all of these fabricated by Yi Qinghuan? When Rushua was completely speechless. Gu Qingxian looked at her, his heart filled with endless regret. I was truly blind to have believed you. Qingxian, you can't treat me like this. I'm carrying your child. When Rushua struggled as a last resort. Child? Gu Qingxian sneered. Are you sure there's really a child in your belly? This sentence completely panicked when Rushua. She subconsciously protected her belly. What do you mean? What I mean is, perhaps we should do a detailed examination to see what exactly is in your belly. Gu Qingxian pressed the call button for the doctor. Doctor, I'd like to have a comprehensive examination done for my girlfriend. The doctor nodded, okay, we'll arrange it. No. I don't want an examination. When Rushua refused frantically. But it was too late. The doctor and nurses had already begun preparing the examination equipment. Half an hour later, the examination results came out. The doctor held the report, his expression somewhat complicated. Mr. Gu, according to the examination results, the patient is indeed pregnant. However, what? Gu Qingxian asked anxiously. However, the fetal development is not very good. Moreover, we detected a large amount of birth control medication in the patient's blood. The doctor said sternly, if she continues to take these medications, the fetus is likely not to survive. When Rushua collapsed on the hospital bed, unable to argue any longer. Gu Qingxian looked at her, his eyes filled with disgust. When Rushua, you're truly vicious. If you didn't want a child, why did you lie to me? I didn't. I just. When Rushua wanted to explain, but all her lies had been exposed. Enough. Gu Qingxian turned to leave. Qingxian. You can't leave me. When Rushua rushed over to grab him. But Gu Qingxian pushed her away. When Rushua, we're over. From today on, I don't want to see you again. He left the ward without looking back. When Rushua fell to the ground, crying loudly, she knew that her dream had completely shattered. Outside the hospital, Yi Qinghuan sat in the car, watching Gu Qingxian come out of the hospital, a satisfied arc forming at the corner of her mouth. The second step of the plan, successful. The next morning, at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Yi Qinghuan arrived on time, wearing a white dress and delicate makeup, looking in a good mood. Gu Qingxian was already waiting there. He hadn't slept all night, his eyes were bloodshot, and he looked very haggard. Mr. Gu, good morning. Yi Qinghuan walked up to him, smiling brightly. Gu Qingxian looked at her, his mood complicated. Yi Qinghuan, do we really have to go this far? Of course. Yi Qinghuan said matter-of-factly, does Mr. Gu still want to continue this broken marriage? Gu Qingxian was silent for a moment, then said, if I say I'm sorry, will you still forgive me? Yi Qinghuan tilted her head and thought for a moment, then shook her head, no. Mr. Gu, the damage has been done, and an apology can't change anything. Then if I say I know I was wrong now, and I want to start over, would you consider it? Start over? Yi Qinghuan chuckled, Mr. Gu, do you think there's anything between us that can be started over? She pointed to the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, let's go in, complete the formalities, and everyone will be free. The two walked into the Civil Affairs Bureau and began the divorce proceedings. The staff looked at their information and asked curiously, are you sure you want a divorce? It seems like you're both in good shape. Yi Qinghuan smiled and said, yes, we're sure. What about the division of property? Do you need us to coordinate? No, we've already negotiated privately. Yi Qinghuan took out the divorce agreement. The staff looked at the agreement, their eyes widening. In this agreement, Gu Qingxian was practically leaving with nothing, while Yi Qinghuan took back all the property. This. Mr. Gu, are you sure you agree to these conditions? The staff couldn't help but ask. Gu Qingxian smiled bitterly, I'm sure. Half an hour later, the divorce certificate was issued. 2 red divorce certificates officially declared the end of their marriage. Stepping out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Yi Qinghuan took a deep breath of fresh air, finally free. Gu Qingxian looked at her happy appearance, feeling very uncomfortable. Yi Qinghuan, do you really not hate me? Hate you? Yi Qinghuan thought for a moment, I used to hate you, but I don't hate you now. Because I realized that hating someone who isn't worth it is punishing myself. She turned to look at him, Mr. Gu, no, I should call you Mr. Gu now. We'll be strangers from now on. I hope you can live well, and I hope you can find someone who is truly suitable for you. What about you? What are your plans? Yi Qinghuan smiled, me? I'm going to start a new life. I'm going to take over the Yi Group again, and I'm going to build it into the largest corporate empire in Jiangqing. Her eyes sparkled. I also want to tell everyone that Yi Qinghuan is not that housewife who can only swallow her anger. I am a capable and strong independent woman. Gu Qingxian looked at her confident appearance, his heart filled with mixed feelings. This woman had always been so excellent, but he had turned a blind eye to it. Yi Qinghuan, if time could go back. There is no if. Yi Qinghuan interrupted him, Mr. Gu, let the past be the past. We must all look forward. She got into the Rolls-Royce parked on the side of the road. Goodbye, Gu Qingxian. I wish you happiness. As the car drove away, Gu Qingxian stood there, looking at the receding silhouette of the car, his heart filled with regret. She lost more than just a husband, but a life partner who could fight alongside her. But now, it was all too late. In the car, Yi Qinghuan took out her phone and dialed a number. "Assistant, arrange for me to hold a board meeting this afternoon. I want to officially announce my takeover of the Yi Group." "Okay, President Yi. Any other arrangements?" Yi Qinghuan thought for a moment. "Help me prepare a press release stating that Ms. Yi Qinghuan is divorced and will focus on running the family business. Also, cancel all cooperation with the Shingsher Group. I have better partners." "Understood, President Yi." Hanging up the phone, Yi Qinghuan looked at the scenery outside the window, feeling happy. The third step of the plan was also successful. Now it was time to start the fourth step, to let everyone see how wonderful Yi Qinghuan could live without Gu Qingxian. As for Wen Ruxue, she also had a special gift to send over. After all, how could a mistress who destroys other people's families not pay a price? A week later, a grand press conference was being held at the most luxurious five-star hotel in Jiangqing, the Emperor View Hotel. The venue was packed, with reporters from major media outlets gathered. On the stage, a huge LED screen scrolled through promotional videos of the Yi Group. Yi Qinghuan, wearing a custom-made black business suit and high heels, walked gracefully onto the stage. Her hair was styled into an elegant bun, and she wore appropriate professional makeup, exuding a powerful aura. "Good afternoon, media friends and partners. I am Yi Qinghuan, chairman of the Yi Group." Her voice was clear and powerful, transmitted throughout the venue through the microphone. Thunderous applause erupted from the audience. "Today, I want to officially announce that, from today onwards, I will fully resume management of all businesses of the Yi Group." Yi Qinghuan surveyed the audience. "The Yi Group will usher in a new stage of development." She pressed the remote control, and the latest plans of the company began to play on the big screen behind her. "First, we will launch the development project of the core area of Jiangqing CBD with a total investment of 20 billion yuan to create Jiangqing's most high-end commercial complex." There was a burst of exclamation in the venue. A 20 billion yuan project was definitely a super big deal in Jiangqing. "Secondly, we will enter the new energy industry, cooperate with top foreign technology companies, and establish a new energy vehicle manufacturing base in Jiangqing. Third, we will establish the Yes Charity Foundation and donate 10% of the company's profits to education and medical causes every year." Each project announced caused gasps of amazement on the scene. No one expected that this newly divorced woman would have such grand business plans. "Chairman Yi, are you confident that you can achieve these goals in a short period of time?" A reporter raised his hand to ask. Yi Qinghuan replied with a smile, "I am very confident. Because I have the best team, the most sufficient funds, and the most determined resolution." "So, regarding your recent divorce, will it affect the company's development?" Another reporter asked. Yi Qinghuan's expression didn't change in the slightest. "My personal life and the company's operations are two different things. In fact, having gotten rid of unnecessary burdens, I can devote more energy to my career." This sentence excited the reporters below the stage. Was she implying that her ex-husband, Gu Qingxian, was a burden? "Chairwoman Yi, there are rumors that your ex-husband's company is now experiencing difficulties. Will you offer a helping hand?" Yi Qinghuan chuckled lightly. "The business world is like a battlefield, everyone must be responsible for their own choices. I am not a philanthropist and will not use shareholders' money to bail out unrelated people." Although her words were polite, her meaning was clear. Gu Qingxuan's life and death were none of her concern. The press conference lasted for 2 hours, and Yi Qinghuan detailed the company's future plans. When she announced that the first project would begin construction next month, thunderous applause erupted in the audience. After the press conference, Yi Qinghuan accepted exclusive interviews with several major media outlets. "Chairwoman Yi, do you think women face more difficulties in the business world?" a female reporter asked. There will definitely be difficulties, but I never lower my standards for myself just because I am a woman, Yi Qinghuan said confidently. Ability knows no gender. As long as you are good enough, no one will dare to look down on you. Then what advice do you have for other women? Yi Qinghuan thought for a moment. I want to tell all women, never entrust your life to a man. Only when you are strong can you control your own destiny. This statement was quickly reported by major media outlets, becoming a hot topic of the day. Online, countless women forwarded and commented in support of Yi Qinghuan. Goddess Yi is so right. Women should rely on themselves. Look at Chairwoman Yi, she is the epitome of a new era woman. Support Goddess Yi. Be the queen of your own life. At the same time, negative news about Gu Qingxian was increasing. The Gu Group's stock price plummeted, customers were lost in large numbers, and banks were collecting loans. In just 1 week, the once glorious Gu Qingxian was on the verge of bankruptcy. As for Wen Ruxue, the situation was even worse. Her chat logs were posted online, and netizens, seeing her true face, condemned her. More importantly, someone dug up her previous dark history. She had been dating several men at the same time, specializing in fishing for rich guys to cheat money. Cyber violence flooded towards her like a tide. Her personal information was doxed, and people threw eggs and garbage at her door every day. Finally, when Ruxue couldn't stand the pressure and voluntarily chose to have an abortion, then fled Jiangqing overnight. Before leaving, she sent Gu Qingxian a final message. Qingxian, I'm sorry, I did a lot of wrong things. But I want you to know that I truly loved you once. When Gu Qingxian saw the message, his heart didn't waver at all. Love? If this was what she called love, then it was too cheap. On the other side, Yi Qinghuan sat in her office, looking at the night view outside the window. Her assistant walked in to report on work. President Yi, Gu's group has officially filed for bankruptcy. Wen Ruxue has also left Jiangqing. Yi Qinghuan nodded, I know. Also, Mr. Chen Guohua has requested a meeting with you tomorrow to discuss cooperation. Okay, arrange it. Yi Qinghuan closed her file. That's all for today, go home and rest early. After the assistant left, Yi Qinghuan stood alone in front of the French window, looking at the brightly lit night view of Jiangqing. 3 months ago, she was still a small woman who would be happy for half a day because of a word from her husband. And now, she is a female entrepreneur in control of tens of billions of assets. Life is truly full of dramatic twists and turns. She took out her phone and saw a news push. Yi Qinghuan, Jiangqing's new business queen, from abandoned wife of a wealthy family to business legend. The article detailed her entrepreneurial journey and business achievements, portraying her as an inspirational role model. Yi Qinghuan smiled and turned off her phone. Revenge has been completed, and a new life has begun. As for Gu Qingxian and Wen Ruxue, they are things of the past. From now on, Yi Qinghuan's life will only become more and more exciting. She turned and walked back to her desk to continue working. There are many important meetings to be held tomorrow, and many projects to be promoted. She wants to prove to everyone that a woman can live such a wonderful life. Outside the window, the neon lights of Jiangqing flickered, just like the light in her eyes, never to be extinguished.